Hey guys, this video is about subtracting negative integers, and I have to apologize for my voice, it's a little bit wonky, but I just wanted to make a quick video because this is a really kind of a confusing concept, but once you've got it, you've got it. It's important that you remember just the conceptual end of this, because if you forget the algorithm, if you forget how to subtract negative integers, if you know what's supposed to happen, you'll be able to figure out the algorithm on your own. So the metaphor that I like to use for this is a hot air balloon, right? So here's the house from up with a bunch of balloons attached to it. And we could pretend that all of these balloons up here are positive integers, right? So if we add a few positive integers, the house is going to go up. And if we subtract a few positive integers, the house is going to go down, right? Like if you pop some of those balloons, it's going to go down. Well, if we add, let's pretend we have sandbags. I'm going to have to draw them on there because I don't have sandbags on this picture. And you're going to have to use your imagination right now. But if we had sandbags all around the bottom of this house, those could be our negative integers. And the more sandbags we add, the more the house is going to drop down, right? So the value would drop down. The more sandbags we take away, though, or subtract, think about what's going to happen. The house is going to go up. So when we subtract negative integers, we're really kind of adding. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, here's this again. Here's a little bit better image of this is a basket with balloons on it and weights. Okay, so the balloons pull the basket up and the weights drag the basket down. Those are negative. If we add balloons, the basket gets pulled upward. Like we had 3 balloons, we just added 1, so the number's going to go higher. It's going to be 4, right? And if we subtract balloons, subtracting positive value, the basket gets pulled downward or negative. So for example, 4 minus 2 is 2. If we add weights, so now we're adding negative value, the basket gets pulled downward. And if we take away weights, if we subtract negative value, the basket gets pulled upward. So 3 minus negative 1 is actually 4. So let's see how this works. First of all, on your notes, make sure that you have these 2 rules from addition copied down, addition of negative integers. Same sign sum, keep the sign, and different sign difference, keep the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. Go ahead, pause the video and make sure that's on your notes. Okay, so we're going to use that a lot, so you need to have that memorized. Really quick, subtraction is the opposite operation to addition, and multiplication is the opposite operation to division. Now, do you guys remember when we learned about dividing fractions? We learned a rule, an algorithm that helped us do that really easily. It was called copy.flip. And what we did is we took that first fraction, we copied it, and we changed the division to a multiplication sign, which is its opposite, and then we flipped the second fraction. So we're actually going to kind of do the same thing today with negative integers. Okay, so let's see how that works. There's only one rule to learn for subtracting positive and negative numbers. When subtracting positive and negative numbers, you're going to copy the first number, you're going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign, and you're going to write the opposite of the second number. So you're not flipping it. We're not taking the reciprocal like in multiplication and division with fractions. We're just taking the opposite. So let's go through a couple opposites right now. We learned this the other day. So mentally think of the opposites of all these numbers before I show them to you. Okay, so what is the opposite of 3? Hopefully you thought negative 3. The opposite of negative 7, 7. The opposite of 0 is 0. The opposite of negative 17, 17. Negative 1 is 1. 23, negative 23. The opposite of 250, negative 250, excuse me, is just 250. And a 593 is going to be negative 593. Okay. So to subtract integers, change the operation to addition and change the sign of the integer behind the operation symbol to its opposite. Then we're going to use our 2 addition rules. So let me show you what I mean. This is the first example in your notes. We have 8 minus 11. So we're going to copy the first integer, change the subtraction sign to an addition sign, and then write the opposite of the integer, the second integer. So now we have 8 plus negative 11. And then we apply our rule. So here we have a different sign difference problem. We're going to keep the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value, which is this negative 11. So we find the difference, which is 3, and it's going to be negative 3 since we have a negative right there. Okay, let's look at number 2. We have 10 minus 15. So let's copy the first integer, change the subtraction sign to an addition sign, and then write the opposite of 15. And it looks like that. And we're going to find the difference. This is another different sign difference problem. And we get negative 5. Here's another one. Now we have negative 10 minus 14. So now we are not going to do anything with that first integer except copy it. So that negative 10 needs to stay negative. And we change our subtraction sign to an addition sign. And we change our second integer to its opposite. So we have negative 14 now. Now we have negative 10 plus negative 14. So we're going to use our same sign sum rule. We're going to add those together, and then we're going to just keep the sign. So we end up with negative 24. All right, let's go through the rest in this set, and then that's going to be the end of this video. Hopefully I've given you enough to go on. But now we've got negative 9 minus 3. Okay, so the reason I've got this written this way is because it is not standard to write a positive ever before a number, and I know that I've told you that, but it looks weird now, doesn't it, with this problem? And that's okay. We just need to get used to it. But we've got a subtraction sign, and then we've got a positive 3. Okay, so we're still going to follow, our algorithm. We're going to copy the first integer, negative 9. We're going to change the subtraction to to an addition sign, and we're going to change that positive 3 to a negative 3. So it should look like that. Now we have a same sign sum, so we're going to just add them together and keep the sign. Okay, do the last two on your own, pause the video, and then come back and check. Okay, hopefully you ended up with 17 and 28. All right, that's all for today. This concept is just all about practicing. You just need to get used to the algorithm. I want you to remember what's supposed to happen when we subtract negative integers. Remember the balloon illustration. If you take off the sandbags, the balloon is going to go up. And so if you remember that, then even if you forget the algorithm, you're probably going to be able to derive it yourself. All right, come see me if you have any questions. Thanks.